In 1984, Gremlins was the year's biggest kids' film.
And that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
Little tykes everywhere went nuts for the fuzzy and furry creatures featured within. Like Star Wars or Garfield, Gremlins was a merchandising bonanza. Toys, books, PJs, little kids just couldn't get enough of those Gremlins. Fans had a long wait before the film's official sequel in 1990. Luckily, in between, there were a number of Gremlin-inspired movies to tide us over. One of the first was Ghoulies, the movie that proved you could launch a successful franchise based on nothing more than the image of a monster popping out of a toilet. Ghoulies begins in the midst of some kind of satanic ritual, where a baby is about to be sacrificed. This was made in the midst of the satanic cult hysteria, when people were having all kinds of false memories about ritualistic abuse, and there were crazy stories about Satanists breeding babies by the thousands to use in sacrifices. Hey look, it's Eraserhead! And the woman is the whorehouse madam from Twin Peaks. See, in the late 80s and 90s, just about every movie had at least one actor from Twin Peaks in it. Hard not to, since that show had about as many characters as Game of Thrones. When the Satanist guy dies, the son he wanted to sacrifice inherits the estate, and promptly throws a party for his horrible friends. I don't think I've ever seen more annoying douchebag characters in my life.
Hey, Rebecca, can you lead me to the nearest beer?
Please, me.
Strip poker.
The movie is pretty light on the Ghoulies. They're mostly seen in cutaways, just close-ups of their faces, to hide how shitty both the puppets and the puppeteers are. The effects are about as polished as a child playing with a stuffed animal. The son begins performing rituals of his own, summoning both ghoulies and a pair of dwarves to dispatch his asshole friends. The woman dwarf is one of the people who played E.T. Both of them are under 3 feet tall. Both were dead within a few years after making this movie. In a shocking twist, it turns out the rituals the son was doing were actually to resurrect his father.
You did my bidding well, Jonathan.
Grizzle, greedy good. You tricked me.
Man, who'd have thought Grizzle and Greedy Guts would be untrustworthy?
Will not have the boy's life.
At the very end of the movie, Eraserhead, who's been living the whole time in a shack on the estate, comes in battles with Satan Dad. Pretty Deus Ex Machina ending, and one of the laziest fight scenes I've ever seen. They just kind of stand there staring at each other, and occasionally some lightning will shoot out of their eyes. And the lightning only comes out of one eye. You'd think in a fight to the death you'd want to come out blasting with both barrels. All the douchebag friends are still alive at the end. The Ghoulies didn't really harm anyone, which I guess is why, despite the film's intensity, it only got a PG-13 rating.
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Oddly though, in Ontario, Ghoulies got the harshest R rating. No one under 18 admitted. Usually, the Canadian ratings were more lax than the States. Still, I remember our father taking us to the theater to see Ghoulies. I don't know if he just bought tickets for something else and snuck us in, but I do remember we were the only people in the theater, so maybe no one just gave a shit. While Ghoulies was dark and upsetting, Roger Corman's Munchies tried going in a more lighthearted direction. The music and set design seems to be reaching for the aesthetics of something like Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. Munchies stars Carol Burnett Show wash-up and Star Wars Holiday Special alumnus Harvey Korman. He plays a dual role, but it's just a shitty, cheap split-screen effect. Pretty fucking lame.
Hey, what's in there?
The movie is embarrassing to watch. Harvey Korman finds an alien in Mexico and stuffs it into his carry-on bag to bring home in order to show up all the other scientists that laughed at him and his wacky theories. Remember in Gremlins how the Mogwais multiplied when they got wet?
Thanks a lot.
Sorry.
It was pretty disturbing when you were a kid. Gizmo was frightened during the process and seemed to experience pain. Since Munchies was trying for family laughs over horror, they didn't go that route. Instead, the Munchies multiply when you fucking chop them into pieces. One of the big reasons this movie doesn't work is because of how blasé everyone seems. The kid and his girl are never amazed to see an alien creature. They're just like, oh, that's nice.
Where'd those guys come from?
I don't know.
And even when things turn intense, they just look bored. Oh, a bunch of them are shooting at us. Oh hum, let's go after them, I guess.
Come on, we gotta get them.
How jaded can you get? Everything about Munchies screams cheap. The flat lighting, the dull pace, and terrible puppets make it seem more like a student film than a real movie. Probably the best scene is this one here, where you get to see an awesome old-school video store. Took me an hour to watch this part because I kept pausing to look at all the video covers and posters. Like Ghoulies, Munchies has some little people in it. It's a pretty random scene.
You know twerps ain't finished yet? Jeez, how am I ever gonna be regional manager with employees like you, huh? Snap it up, shortstops, okay?
Now why does the guy have to be mean to them? I mean, there aren't that many roles for little people in movies to begin with, and when one comes along, it's just abuse? I can picture them getting a call from their agent. Hey guys, great news, I got you a role in a new movie. Oh, awesome, what are we going to be doing? Well, you play fast food employees, and your big scene is the boss making fun of you for how short you are. The last movie in this lineup is Critters. Not content to just be a Gremlins ripoff, they also throw in a pair of shape-shifting, immoral interspace bounty hunters who go around blasting the shit out of everything. With a cool mix of monsters, badass bounty hunters, action. It's no wonder my 10-year-old self thought this movie was awesome. What could possibly inspire bigger prepubescent laughs than this scene? Watching Critters today, there's a couple things that stick out. First, the girl playing the daughter is the same actress that played the girlfriend in Munchies. Second, what the fuck is up with the father in this mason jar? In both dinner scenes, you see him spooning honey into it and mixing it with water. What the hell is that for? Is he really gonna drink that? A little honey and water is supposed to be healthy, but not that much. And why can't he use a real glass like a normal person? He's gotta swell it out of a big jar like some toothless hillbilly? At the very end of the movie, as the critters are flying away, they casually use their ray guns to zap the family house and boom! Look at it explode. It's just a final fuck you before they fly back to space. The next day, the family mourns the loss of their home. All those memories destroyed. It's kind of a poignant moment. You see Mom pick up a treasured family memento from the wreckage, thinking no doubt about how life will never be the same. But wait, what is that she's picking up? Is that Dad's mason honey jar? Holy shit, it is! Okay, first, how did a glass jar survive being thrown from an exploding house without suffering so much as a crack? And second, why does the mom pick it up and cradle it like it was a dead kitten? What sentimental attachment could she possibly have to some jar her loser husband mixed his disgusting honey and water concoction in? The final thing that fascinates me about Critters is this scene here, when the sheriff, played by the great M. Emmett Walsh, gets a late-night phone call, alerting him to some disturbances in his sleepy little town. As he jots down some notes, I can't help but notice the Dolly Parton picture hanging on his bedside. What's that about? Looks like a picture of Dolly Parton when she was in 9 to 5. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Maybe I just brush it off as a bit of set decoration, but it isn't a proper glossy photo in a frame. It's obviously from the newspaper. And it isn't even clipped out neatly. You can see the tattered edges from where it was torn. So clearly, the sheriff was in a diner somewhere, reading the paper, and he came across the picture of Dolly Parton and he thought, oh, that looks nice. So he tears it out, folds it up and puts it in his pocket, and then when he gets home he thumbtacks it to the wall beside his bed. You'll notice this shot never shows us the other side of the bed, so we can only assume he is sleeping alone, that there is no Mrs. Sheriff. Late at night, it's just him and his Dolly Parton clipping. I wonder if he talks to it. Does he lay there and tell her about his day, revealing his anxieties about being a lonely, overweight, childless man entering his twilight years? Out of the three, the clear winner, with its mysterious honey jars and Dolly Parton pictures, is the always fun Critters. As good as Gremlins? Oh no. No.